Alright, coming at you with some hot turn 5 action for game something or other, Twilight Struggle. Mid-game here. We've got a battle brewing for Asia, 3-3 battlegrounds, even. As far as scoring is concerned, the U.S. is going to come out as one ahead because of Afghanistan, because of the adjacency to the motherland. We've got some issues here in the Middle East. Russian non-domination, but close enough. They've got more battlegrounds. They need to take 1 point in Syria, and then they'll have domination, which they should probably do. Americans dominate Europe, as is par for the course. We've got battle brewing in Africa, 3 versus 2 battlegrounds. No domination, because the Russians have more countries. The Russians, however, have complete control of Central America and, de facto presence of South America for the Americans. I've already dealt the cards here. Russian hand. Oh, I guess I should mention, the Americans only need 3 more points to win, so it's pretty much just going to be a job to get points for the Russians and to get points for the Americans to try and force their way to 20. This may be the last turn. It may not. It may swing in weird directions. So let's see. For the Americans, for the Russians, colonial rear guards, add 1 U.S. influence in each of 4 different African or Southeast Asian countries. Doesn't help. Bear trap definitely doesn't help. Cuban Missile Crisis, SEFCON 2, can't make coups unless you lose, etc. Sadat expels Soviets, remove all USSR influence in Egypt, add 1 US influence. That's not good. Red Scare Purge, -1 for all the Americans' plays. Arab-Israeli War. Interesting. Might want to play that. Quagmire, pretty good. We really need to play this. We got to make some headway in regions where scoring is going to come up, because that's really all that's going to matter. Let's take a look at the discard pile here. We know Europe scoring's in there. What else? Africa's in there. So we need to not focus on Europe and not focus on Africa as the Russians. Che, make coups against non-battlegrounds in Africa and the Americas. Doesn't help. Voice of America, remove 4 Soviet influence from non-European countries. Definitely doesn't help. So, the Russians have their work cut out for them with this, and it's not good. For the Americans, we need to get 3 points. How are we going to do it? This gives the Russians points, degrades the DEFCON. We don't really want to play that. Muslim Revolution removes all influence from 2 countries in the Middle East. Don't want to play that. CIA created. Soviets reveal their hand. U.S. may conduct ops if they played a 1-ops card. Might want to play that. Nixon plays a China card. We want to try and wait until the Soviets give us the China card, because we get 2 VP if that happens. Central America scoring, we'd like to get, we're going to get in there with Junta. We've got that here. Central America scoring, we want to try to capitalize this and Brush War and Panama Canal. So we've got a lot of cards that are focused on Central and South America. For this, we just want to make sure the Soviets don't get any points, because we want that really aggressive buffer of 17 points. Anyway, headline card. I think the obvious choices are Quagmire or Red Scare Purge. If the Americans have cards that give them points, 3 points, we don't want them to play it. So Quagmire basically stalls their hand and lets us get a chance to do something with this stuff. Hopefully gets rid of their good cards. Quagmire. The Soviets the Americans over here. I'm looking at Central America scoring. I'm looking at this situation. If I play Junta, I can do like 2 in Mexico and then coup Panama, and that might just all of a sudden, it may be bad. Or I could headline Brush War, because Brush War will let me attack Mexico or Panama. They're both at -1. They're both at success on 4 to 6, which I might want to do that. I might want to do Junta first and then follow up with Brush War to clean up. So I think Junta is going to be our headline card. Okay, so Quagmire occurs first, regardless. Okay, so the Americans still get their headline card. 2 influence. I think it's going to be 2 influence in Mexico here. Okay, and then they're going to coup Panama. They need at least 4. They get +2 because of junta. 3, that's not what we're looking for. That's a total of 5. Yeah, total of 5. The Russians simply lose 1. Not good enough. And now we're going to have to deal with Quagmire as the Americans. That's not good. Okay, the Russians' first turn. Oh, I'm sorry. That was a battleground coup. That means the Americans get a point from NORAD, if we remember. It was a free coup with junta, so DEFCON, so you don't get any ops for it, but the DEFCON still occurs. So just in case the Soviets have South America scoring, I want to get some presents there. Put one in Venezuela. Russians, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I saw that play for Central America as the Russians, so maybe I want to do something with that. I've got 4 ops I'd like to use. 4 ops. I say all in Mexico. No, I say 2 and 2. So we've got 2 and 2. Okay, Quagmire. Oh goodness, I was wrong. Actually, the Americans don't get this point. Because Quagmire activated first, NORAD gets canceled before the DEFCON goes to 2. So actually, I forgot about that. Canceled by Quagmire. So that needs to go away. So, still no presence in South America. Good. Okay. Americans, Quagmire. We need to discard a card worth 2 or more and then roll to cancel. So I'm thinking these could technically be useful 4 ops. I think I'm going to discard socialist governments because that's never good. Roll to cancel. I need 1 through 4. Rats. That's probably not good. That's what the Russians are looking for, though. Back to the Russians' turn. We've got 3 ops here. Now that we've got that sort of advantage, we're looking to mess up the Americans everywhere else. So 3 ops. Certainly we're going to put 1 back in Israel. Certainly put 1 in Syria, giving domination. I believe in case of Southeast Asia scoring, did that get played? In the case of Southeast Asia scoring, we'll want to take Vietnam. That's 3. Alright. The Americans have to roll Quagmire again. We've got to discard now. What are we going to discard? One of these now. Muslim Revolution is the better choice. Although this is a DEFCON card, we don't have the China card. I may be worried about that, so we will bury you instead. Damn it, 5. We gotta do Quagmire again. This is exactly what the Russians are counting on. This is exactly what they want. Meanwhile, the Russians are going to steamroll the rest of their countries. What are we going for? What are we going for? We can inject points into Africa. I think 3 points in Cameroon because, first of all, we want to make sure there's a big buffer so we can't get cooed out. Okay, so 3 points I think is good, but then also we can get in here to Nigeria. Hostile takeover. The Americans got to roll again. We got to discard Muslim Revolution now. Discarding everything, getting rid of everything. Okay, Quagmire's canceled. Doesn't matter, they still get to go again. Okay, I think China card then. China card for Nigeria. For a total of 3 points, because we got to put 1 extra to break it. So, hostile takeover of Africa. Good. The Americans. It's going to come down to it, isn't it? It's going to come down to this roll is going to be the win, because we're going to play Nixon plays a China card. We have the China card. That's 2 points. Okay. As the Russians, I see that. I need to try to get 2 points here. If this succeeds, then we're going to be okay for that. We don't know that's happening, but Arab-Israeli war. We got to roll. Only succeed on a 6. Does it only succeed on 6? Or use control at 6, 5. Yep, not good enough. We get 2 ops, but it's not going to be enough. It's going to come down to this. It's going to come down to brush war. We are going to brush war as the Americans. We are going to brush war Mexico, and that will give us 1 VP if we succeed. So we need to get 4 through 6. 1. Oh man, rats. Doesn't succeed. We get 3 ops, but we don't get the VP that we need. And now we have to play Central America scoring. This is nothing. This is not good at all for the Americans. Well, I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, 19 points is good, but still. Meanwhile, the Russians, I think we're discarding one of these things. Voice of America. Hopefully, we'll be able to space race again and get some VP. Yeah, we might. Yeah, we will. Looks like. The Americans, we got one more play if we want to take it. It doesn't really do much. Actually, it does. Panama Canal returns. Gives us 1 point in Costa Rica, which breaks control. So we'll play that. 1 point in Costa Rica. 1 point in Panama. And 1 point in Venezuela. Gives us that access we were looking for earlier. Alright, the Russians see this. The Russians see that. I'm going to say giving up Egypt is worth it. Still have domination, so 1 point to take back Costa Rica, regaining control. That effect happens. Remove all USSR influence, add 1 American influence. And it looks like I flipped something. Did I flip something over? No? Something like that. Okay, done. The Americans' last play, they have to play Central America scoring or else they lose, so they got to play it. They don't have any presence. They've lost control. The Russians have control of Central America. All of our plans, all of our great plans that we set up at the beginning of the turn, didn't matter. It didn't matter because of that quagmire, that bastard Russian over there, that other player who's totally not also me. Okay, so the Russians gain 5 points for control. They gain 1, 2, 3 extra points for more battlegrounds than the Americans. They gain 1, 2 extra points for adjacency to the superpower. That's 5 plus 6, 7, 8 plus 9, 10 points. Wow. Big plays by the Russians with Quagmire. Destroyed the American strategy. Back to 9 points. The Russians are back in the game from 19 points. What an upset. This is crazy. We're going to deal the cards, come back with turn 6. This game's awesome. Twilight Struggle. Never ceases to amaze. Let's come back to it.